Welcome back. It's the Admiral back again, and we're here for part 2 of this teardown. Sorry it's a little late. My sister came home, had to spend some time with her, but we're back at it. This shirt's a little too small for me. Just don't touch. Anyways, we're going to get cracking. We're going to go ahead and crack these heads off. I'm going to go ahead and disassemble these heads later on the bench. That way I can demonstrate a very cool thing about these motors. And this is true for the 2-valve and the 4-valve. I do not know about the 3-valve, but you can actually pull the heads off fully assembled. Valves, valve springs, of course. But, you know, you can have your rockers on it because they're followers, not rockers. And you can have, of course, your latch adjusters in. They're like your lifters on an overhead cam motor. You can even leave your cam on. You don't have to do anything up here. All you do is break it loose. So we'll start. I like to torque these center out. And I like to do it, or untorque them center out. And I like to do it in stages. I think you torque them center out too. But anyways, we're getting going. Make sure you hit like, subscribe, ring the bell, do all that stuff. And, you know, getting into this. Hold this. Doing this on a roll-around engine stand is fun.
What size socket?
Oh, this is an 18 millimeter. Yeah, no, this is a 15 millimeter. 18 millimeters the crankshaft socket, I think. Like that. And these are tight as all heck from the factory. I don't know what the torque spec is. We will figure that out later. We'll have to Google it. Jesus. Attention on this. Oh, I have this cool thing. I don't know if I showed it in the last video, but I have a 3/8 breaker bar and a quarter breaker bar. That also acts as an extension when you put it out that way, but it means you can put extensions in it and get a longer breaker bar, which is a cool thing. I got my torque. There we go. Ooh, I feel like that was tighter than it was supposed to be. I'm probably just a weakling though.
Remember you thought one of those heads had already been pulled?
I honestly don't know. I think it's pretty common for one side of mod motors to be a little bit cleaner than the other. I think a lot of mod motors are like that, actually. I mean, it shouldn't be a massive disparity, which it isn't here. Dad still can't believe that this motor doesn't have something wrong with it without cleaning this.
Pretty clean.
What is it you always say about torquing heads, Dad? If you ain't sweating, you ain't doing it right?
Well, there you go. Even in this,
for untorquing them.
Even in December.
Mm-hmm. Well, it ain't exactly freezing in here, you know.
Of course not.
Ain't gonna need that anymore. And then we're gonna crack all these loose. All the way loose. Maybe. Being extra cautious not to hurt the heads. Things are tight. Sorry if this is a little dull. I will try to give you the timestamp in the comments as a pinned comment when I post this video as to when we are done taking the first, or when we are taking the first head off and when we are taking the second one off. Start up here. I'm doing top to bottom. Okay, that's loose. And I don't know if y'all saw my video yesterday. I hope you did, though. You know, if you're subscribed, hit that bell. You won't. Was it yesterday?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was yesterday. But we got our cams in, as well as main and rod bearings. Whew.
I think there's more parts out on the golf cart.
Are there? We might have to finish this off with an unboxing segment. I'll have to set that up here in a little bit. And this motor, this motor really does not want to stay put. It's still tighter than it should be. Starting to wonder if the 2 valves have a tighter torque spec, because I know the 4 valve wasn't this tight. It's close, but not quite. Okay. 2 steps. Come on. Back where I want you. And then, should be able to just bang all of them loose. All the load off. Not much worry about hurting the heads anymore, as long as we don't bang into them or anything like that. Hopefully, if y'all don't hear my breathing too terribly, I got a earbud in as kind of a person mic. So, if it's horrible, well, we won't do it again. I'm going to be breathing heavy. Ooh! You heard that unseal? I don't know if y'all heard it, but I heard it. Did you hear it, Dad? I guess it's just going to be one time stamp since I'm getting both of these loose. That one's still tighter than I want it to be. It's not exactly an exact science when you're untorquing. Just kind of a easy does it kind of thing. I know at least on the Coyotes you have to be real careful about untorquing the cam caps. There we go, everything's loose. I'm about to zip it out. Face a little bit. Working up a sweat over here. We're in a sweatshop. That one's out. Come on. Oh, I need to make sure to remind me to order head studs.
Mm-hmm.
I meant to today and I forgot. I did go ahead and order valve springs from the muscle today, so.
Very long bolts.
These are very long bolts. So the reason these are so long, they actually go all the way down and tighten into the main webbing, which is a key design feature of these motors. I don't think those are going to fit in those bags, but they're main bolts. I don't think we'll reuse them either way. Yeah, I guess they'll fit in the same bag as the timing chain.
Probably
They
not.
have some dark oil on them, so.
Probably not going to use them anyway.
What?
Probably not going to use the timing chains either.
Nah, they probably won't. So. Good things to keep together.
Good thing to keep all your parts though, even though if you're not going to use them. In case you have a mismatch situation, you can figure it out.
Shouldn't really use an impact on that.
It's okay.
Okay, that one's tight. I don't know why that's tight. Crank that loose. Go back over everything again. Make sure it's still loose. Yeah, that got tight. Oh, maybe I never unhooked that one. That might be the issue. Oh well. having soccer on it. Were you gonna say anything? Just let me make a fool of myself on YouTube.
Okay. You do a
Oh
good.
well, makes for good content.
You do a good job all on your own.
Do what?
You do a good job on your own.
Alright, so these should be doweled. So, theoretically speaking, we should not see a cylinder head smash into the concrete and put a hole in the floor. Theoretically. We'll see how well that theory holds up. Alright, you ready?
What's your toe?
I know. Alright. And should we take it off now or should we do them together?
Try it. See?
Let's take it off now.
There you go.
Oh, no coolant splashing everywhere, so that's a good sign. Whew. There's the dirt we've been waiting to see. They're not horrible, but they ain't clean.
Well, they've been run, but they're not near as dirty as that 4-valve.
Yeah, that 4-valve also probably had twice the mileage.
Right.
Let's peel this gasket off. Fun fact. 4.6, or really all the mod motors come from the factory with something called MLS gaskets, and MLS stands for multi-layered steel. So you can see there's 3 layers of metal here. They are steel. And this is actually very desirable. Most aftermarket racing gaskets for not absolutely wild combinations are multi-layered steel. In fact, what's the highest horsepower you've ever seen made on MLS gaskets?
Yeah, mine makes about 2,000 on
Yeah.
Cometic.
Cometic MLS, which is exactly what I have for this motor. So, we should be good. If we blow them, we got other problems. Should we keep these? I'll put them right here. They kind of...
I would definitely log in the thickness.
I know the...
I'm zooming on your pants, not the head.
Oh. You want me out of the way?
Heads
Oh,
are
we
pretty
never did.
clean.
Yeah, we never did pull up the spark plugs. Or I never did.
It's a much bigger port than the, or bigger chamber than the 4-valve.
It actually isn't. So these are 42cc or 43cc. Those were the 2 factory chambers. I think these are 42cc, although we might take that dam out, that swirl dam right there out, to unshroud the valve, or at least take it back a little bit. I don't know if I want to do that too much chamber work, though, because we're not going to change the valve seats on these, I don't think, unless we discover any damage. So,
They're pretty clean.
these, I believe, are the 42cc chambers, which 1cc doesn't make a difference. It's like 0.3, 0.2, 0.3 points of compression. When you're around 10 to 1, I've been doing the math recently. So not a crazy amount. And the all the 4-valve heads are said to be between 52 and 53 cc's. And then supposedly you have 52 cc on the non-PI, which is actually what's in the car right now, and flat tops. So actually a really common thing to do is to take these heads, put them on well, I say common, it's a real cool thing to do, is to take these heads, put them on a non-PI short block that has flat top pistons from the factory for mild NA builds. You know, I'm running nitrous, so I want aftermarket pistons because I'm scared of the stock piston shattering. But you put these on the flat tops and you get like a 11 or 12 to 1 compression ratio. I think it's 12 to 1. And of course, you bleed some of that off with a cam, but makes for a really hot setup. Solid 5 to 10% gains, I think, going from 10 to 1 to 12 to 1. So you're talking an extra 50 horsepower, maybe 50, 100 horsepower. Anyways, let's go ahead and zip off the other side. Ooh, I'm gonna need to take that loose. See that earlier. Just a second. Get this off. It's just a ground strap, which we're not going to really use. So, figure out how I'm going to bag and tag those later, but they're there, you know what to do. I guess I'm going to have to pull this whole thing out. So I may have to get a new one of these water pump tubes. Oh, there's one on there. Might need new O-rings though. That's for the heater core. This motor has a bit of a different heater setup that they all feed from the water pump on one side. Go back there. And we'll move this over just a little bit. Move this head back out of the way. Probably should be doing this off camera, but it's fine. And we'll get cracking on the next head. We know all those are loose, so I'll zip them off. Yeah, I'll drop you guys timestamps of when we actually pull the heads. Well, I say that as I'm pulling the heads. That will be in the comments. Pinned comment. Because y'all totally need to know it now after we pulled one ahead. Something bend up. This side. And dogs are barking at something. A little bit deeper set than they were on the 4-valve motor. Down into the heads. A little bit hard to pull out with just one hand. Yeah, for being 4-bolt per cylinder motors, these motors can actually take a lump because they're not large cylinders. These motors can take a lot of cylinder pressure with the right heads on them. Normally that's thought of a weak thing. Usually you see 6-bolt or 8-bolt in a lot of stuff. Is the LS 6-bolt? 6 bolts per cylinder? I think it is. Anyways, go ahead and pull this head off and see how wonderful it is. Oh, that came off. Forgot it's not bolted on. There we go. Much the same story there. Plugs don't look terrible. And this just does not want to turn. Just come over here.
I'll do it. Now you have some different looking carbon patterns on this side.
Mm-hmm. The intake doesn't have perfect distribution, air distribution.
So why the carbon pattern the way it is?
I honestly don't know. It's just
You want me to tell you?
different. Yeah, go for it.
One side's the intake, the other side's the exhaust.
I guess that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
These gaskets do not want to come off. Put these down here.
Very good head seal though.
Oh yeah.
So let's compare sides. Let me see this side.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they look very similar.
Yeah. I mean, you can tell there's no burn marks where they got under the head gasket. And
But both
looking
of
at
them
the
look
cylinder
good.
heads right here.
Is there any ring ridge in there?
Yes, there is.
Slight ring ridge.
Slight. Let's
Or
look
is it a
at.
carbon ridge?
It's definitely a carbon ridge there.
I think it's just a carbon ridge.
I don't know if it's a wear thing.
Nope, nowhere.
Light. See if we can see the crosshatch. Well, you can still sort of see the crosshatch.
Hmm.
I think this will hone. This will hone just fine.
Very low mileage motor.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. There's a little bit of dirt in this from what was up here. Don't worry, we're gonna clean all this off.
Looks pretty good.
Some of the carbon just flakes right off. That's cool. Anyways, well now we will crack on. Now that this is a lot easier to turn over. If you're wondering what this is, by the way, I believe this is a knock sensor. Not 100%, but I think it is. I don't know. I'm probably going to leave this cable here. Just because it's connected to the sensor. I'm just going to leave the sensor there. And just tie it up under the intake or something like that. Because eventually when I go to a standalone, it should have a way for me to wire this in. And I'll need that cable. And the sensor being there. Ooh. Delicious. Delicious. Yummy. And there it is from that side. And oil. Oil from the main drains. Interesting thing, the drains that you see right here are actually these tubes cast into the side of the block. Anyways, let's crack on with this. So, we do need to peel this rear main seal housing off. So we'll do that next. We didn't do that last time. I just forgot about it. That's fine. Question is, where does it peel off? Do you remember where we peeled that one off? Yeah. Oh, I found it. Found a good spot.
Got the bolts out?
Yeah, I got all the bolts out. I got them out before I put them on the stand. I put it on the stand. I'm gonna have to have you work this with me off camera.
Stop.
Go. All right, we're back. We got the main seal rear main seal cracked off, or at least the housing for it. The rear main seal's still on the crank. I'm not gonna worry about it. I'll probably stuff this crank with that rear main seal still on it. Not a big worry. But we're gonna go ahead and crack away at these side bolts. And you might be thinking to yourself, if you're an LS fan, wait, doesn't the LS have side bolts? Yes, the LS does. The LS was actually created after this, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe they were actually both created by the same guy. They were both designed by the same guy. But they both have 6-bolt cross-bolted mains. Wait, hang on. Actually, this is a 2-bolt block. I didn't know those actually existed. We may have to use the block that comes out of that car. More you know. Well, we'll still crack on. I'm sure this block would still hold plenty of power. Now that makes me worried. I know all the Mustang blocks are 4-bolt mains plus side bolts. So we'll have to see. Just crack all these side bolts off. Let me just now notice that. Clearly I haven't done enough research.
My first nitrous motor was a 2-bolt. It did just fine.
Yeah, but your first nitrous bolt was also a 350. Bigger motor.
400.
400. Even bigger motor. Yeah.
But I sent about, I don't know, a couple hundred bottles to it. It did just fine.
Yeah. I'm sure. Or it might be that I go ahead and put another $500 into getting an aluminum block. Yeah, we definitely need to pull the oil pan off of the the current GT block and see what it is. Because if I have a 4-volt main block, I'm going to use a 4-volt main block, as long as it's not too destroyed. I don't know what condition that short block's in, but I don't have high hopes for it. Alright, and we're going to remember to tag and bag these. So, make myself a little space. Main bolts. Should have noticed that sooner. I would probably ordered a laptop. By the way, that's WAP Windsor Assembly Plant, or Windsor Aluminum Plant. Don't you get your dirty mind out there.
WAP.
Yeah. You don't know what the other meaning of that is, do you? Good. You need to know. Okay, those are out, and let's go ahead and get cracking off the mains. That is bigger. Probably this. No. Is that 16 now?
17.
17. That's what it was. What is this? That's an 18. No, do this.
Very few 16s in this world. Most of them's 15, 17, 18. I think I have a set of sockets that doesn't even have a 16 in it.
I think I do too.
Mm-hmm.
They do exist. That's pretty loose. There we go. I think got that cracked off.
And that was for the oil pickup, right?
Yes, that was for the oil pickup. Tools are being difficult. Handling tools with oil on your hands is fun. Especially when they're real nice, slick chrome tools like these. Crack those. I don't know why I'm cracking mains. Should be cracking rods.
Mm.
Let me crack rods.
Either one.
We've got a 10 mil. So I don't trust the quarter drive. Got it. I swear I sometimes know what I'm doing. Sometimes. On occasion. Go crack all these rod bolts. Oh, we need the. Those are 11s. Okay. Are they 12s? Are they 12s or 11s? Weird numbers.
11.
Do what? More of the. Ow. Stuff is sharp. Do you know where the balance bolt went? It went in the. You can tell I'm very prepared.
Bag and tag.
Yeah, bag and tag. think it went in the kind of coverable bag. Yes, it did. Just use this one, turn it over. I haven't used it yet. Just put that on. There we go. I can tell you this motor moves a lot less freely than that Cobra motor did.
Still pretty tight.
Mm-hmm. It's not horrible, but it definitely isn't as free. I don't know if I've said this yet, but the reason we have to change to forged rods and pistons is because these stock rods are actually called powdered metal rods. So they are, I'm not 100% sure how that manufacturing process works. Oh, that's tight one. But from what I understand, I believe they basically take powdered metal, like the name implies, and compress it and heat it until you get a decent rod out of it. Hack way to turn it, but no. I'm just a hack. I'm not hack. Am I a hack? I don't know if I'm a hack. Not trying to be. Just rambling at this point. The rest of this is just pretty mundane. You know, 462 valves has same kind of rods and pistons as, well, I say the same kind. They have similar rods and pistons as any other V8 engine block. You know, they all work pretty much the same way. It might be fun to just slap it together with the 2 valve and see if we break it. If not, we have a cool story that we made a lot of power with a 2 valve, or with a 2 valve 2 bolt. $281 cubes of 2 bolt main fury. All right, there we go. You gonna start pulling these pistons together?
Need my help?
Yeah.
Let me get a pusher.
I could probably do it myself.
Yeah, let me get it. Oh, we can use this as a pusher.
That? Right.
Get rubber on here.
All right. So I'll get the phone over here.
It's recording. We're good right there.
Now I want the first rod cap we undo. That bearing looks nice.
Very clear.
It's not. I don't think that's quite as nice as the Cobra, but that's still very nice.
Very clean. Yeah.
Very nice, very clean. So I'll go ahead and set this back up right over here. I think you'll have a good view right there.
Bearing straight right here.
Brakes actually look brand spanking new.
Like we said,
Always
low mileage
remember.
engine.
It don't matter what kind of engine you're working on, basically. I've never found one any different. But the tangs on the engine,
These little slots right here. I don't know if y'all can see them terribly well.
every rod I've ever seen in my life, and that's been a while, you go tang to tang when you put them together.
By the way, if you haven't noticed, he does have painted fingernails.
Well, yeah, my daughter did that.
He loves his daughter
Came home from college.
almost as much as he loves his son. Almost.
Right. Maybe the same.
Maybe the same. Potentially. Hey, YouTube language.
Get your back.
Doing this a little more slowly than we did last time.
Did we not mark these rods?
No, we didn't. Should we go ahead and do that?
Yeah.
I'll go ahead and pause the video.
That's okay. Show them how we did it.
Maybe. I guess we'll just go ahead and get it recorded. He's going to get the engraver and this flat spot here on the end of the piston. We're going to mark all the numbers of the cylinders. So,
Where'd you put the engraver?
I didn't put it up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. This is piston 7. So go ahead and put it right here. And this is piston 3. You will also notice these have anti-wear compounds on the sides of the pistons, which is actually pretty cool. Actually, these don't look like Motorcraft pistons. Huh. They're definitely Ford rods. So I still want to change them because it'll just make me feel more comfortable. But these, it might just be that they're so new. They just look too nice to be stock rods or stock pistons. I mean,
Excuse me. No engraver.
I'll pause it and we'll look for it. We'll be right back. All right, we're back. Went and found the engraver. Somebody left it plugged in where we were last using it. All right, so let's go ahead and engrave these since they're out. This is number 3. That's a good way to do it. And then this one is number 7. Just put it down somewhere. The nails still get me. There you go. Nice engraving. And then let's get this wrench.
Pause.
Close. Why? Sorry. Dad was confused about Chevy versus Ford firing order. You can tell he's a Chevy man. Okay. There is 4 and 8. So 4. 4. Yeah. too late for you to be doing all this hard thinking.
What?
I was hoping to have this be like a 30-minute video, but doing a lot more recording than I figured we would. Oh, did I go too far?
Hmm.
Just,
Yeah.
we'll just do 1 and 2. Here, there's 1.
It's two. Hey.
2.
I get this one.
Mm-hmm.
What is it?
That is 6. I know it's confusing. And
Could be 9 if you look at.
there we go.
Plastic.
Nice and done.
Oh, that's it.
So we're nice and done.
We're done with the vibrator. I mean,
Dad!
the engraver.
Dad!
Engraver.
All right, we'll put you guys back over here. Hopefully you can see pretty well. Can't really see through the thing it's leaning against, so I'm just gonna have to say that looks good. Not a bit better of an angle. Hopefully we're not too far off. Oh, I meant to record this video sideways. Oh well.
Yeah, forgot that the other day.
And today apparently.
Apparently.
Bearing stick. Looks just as nice.
Put it right here.
And if y'all are wondering about his earlier statement about motors being like the tang to tang thing, as long as he remembers, how long can you remember that?
Yesterday.
How old are you?
That's all. Not me.
I forget. You're
I'm quite a bit older than you are.
you were born in what? 50?
No,
59.
50, baby.
59. So someone can do the math. He is.
But there's very, I mean, it's
62.
this motor that we're taking apart is so clean. The bearings are so fresh. They look brand new. You could put it back together just like it is.
Could. With new bearings, of course. Nope. No?
These are wonderful.
Don't they torque down though?
Why would you change them?
Isn't there like a torque issue?
No, they're both torque. Bearings don't.
No, but don't they get crushed?
Nope.
I thought they did.
Under load they do. But not under torque. If you notice they still move when you take them off.
True. So these ones aren't even crushed down enough to worry about it?
I don't see any problem.
Come on. One more.
Which goes back to the same thing we've been talking about. This motor is a jewel,
Absolute jewel.
I think. I mean, it's very nice, very nice.
Someone that bought this to go in there,
Got lucky.
just to slap it in something, would have gotten very lucky and gotten a very nice motor.
That's right. It wouldn't matter.
And this is like factory new from Ford kind of level here.
Mm-hmm.
You've done those, but okay. Oh, you see the thing though about the not full counterweighted?
Very slow there.
Yes. There it is. Very nice bearing. So So you think these haven't even been loaded down enough?
No, it's, you know, the other thing you can do is look at the back side of a bearing. If it doesn't show any heat, means it's in really good shape.
Mm-hmm.
But this is not the load side.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well,
This is the
it
load
is
side.
in one way. Higher RPM, that's the load side because that's.
But in a
Right.
grandma car, that ain't ever
Yeah,
gonna see
that
load.
ain't gonna happen, yeah.
Nothing worth talking about, anyways.
Yep.
Almost.
Cool.
One more ring stuff. There we go.
But the bearing,
Yes.
the bearing that's on this end is the compression side, and you can understand that the pressure's on the piston side. But if you look at this bearing, and it has any
I can't really see a
discoloration
whole lot
in the
of that.
middle and stuff, then you would have a problem.
I should probably zoom this in a little bit now that I think about it. There we go. That might be better.
Make sure you see through it. Leave it that little bit. Anyway.
This phone case isn't conducive to being set that effectively.
You learn a lot about an engine through teardown.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, I've always told everybody I learn more about an engine through teardown than I do assembly. Because assembly, you're
You got all three parts.
you're just throwing it together. This assembly is where you really learn
You see what wears.
what's going on,
And how good the engine is.
especially in the racing application. Like, you know, this motor's been run a bunch in racing, and then you tear it down, you know, between races or whatever. That's where you learn what's going on. The assembly part of it is just a procedure. The teardown is where you really figure out what's going on with your engine.
And, going back to a guy I mentioned, I Do Cars not too long ago. He likes tearing down bad cores that he gets to see what goes on in them.
Sure, diagnose stuff.
He wants to see, which bearing did it spin? Which, I forget what cylinder it is, but for some reason LS's, when they throw a rod, they tend to always throw the same cylinder for whatever reason. It might be just a load thing on that cylinder.
Unless they throw all of them, then
Well, yeah, but
put all the power to the ground.
generally if they throw a rod, I think it's cylinder 7.
Mm-hmm. But anyway, there's more to be learned about an engine on teardown than there is assembly. That's all I can say.
Mm-hmm. Nope, leave that one on. Well, I guess we have the numbers.
Wait, nothing. And this motor, the teardown deal is like it's almost brand new.
Mm-hmm. We maybe should have just sold this motor.
Yeah, might should just put it in your Mustang when it drove.
Yeah,
Well,
like I said, I want to make power on this motor.
you found a good one.
Mm-hmm.
That's the right cap.
It's the right cap. Nope, it's not.
Ha ha.
Good catch. That's the right cap.
The reason you keep the caps together is these are machined when the cap's together and then separated for assembly.
An interesting thing, these pistons are actually, they create the caps with something called fracture caps. See? They're fracture caps.
Yep.
So, I'll show you real quick because you can see it real well on this one. You can almost see a ridge right there. I don't know if you guys have enough light. Alright, phone's falling. That's better. But you can see that's like a fracture side and it mates up perfectly to this rod. Good job.
Glad you get new rods and pistons.
I was gonna sell these.
They're fine.
Better be.
It is.
Nothing.
Lost the right.
Bearing.
It's fine. Maybe you ought to save these and put it back in your engine when you blow the other one up and have something to dry.
I might take the one that's in there and put them pistons in it, yeah.
Yeah, it's a very low mileage engine. The other reason you can tell it's very low mileage, see the sides of the skirts?
They have almost no wear.
Almost zero wear.
I mean, there's something there, but it's nothing.
Yep.
And those are wear skirts. Those are designed to be
Very
the first thing it hits. Alright, don't get that.
We'll get a box later and put all those in.
Oh, the Allen key. Does this one have an Allen key in there?
It comes out front.
No, the
Oh.
keys inside. So, we saw on the Cobra block, I don't think this one is the same way. But on the Cobra block, there is little, almost dowel pins, Allen keys in the middle of them, that the side bolts go through.
The side bolts actually have an Allen that goes in against the side of the main cap,
To lock it, to kind of center it.
and that
I think
helps
these ones do
the
too.
bulk in it. They do.
How does
You
it
get
come out?
the-
How does it come out?
Allen.
Oh, I didn't see an Allen key in there.
Well, it's there.
Didn't see the Allen hex. Let's get an Allen set and should get those back out.
It's basically a little bushing that goes in there that registers on the side of the main cap. That keeps the side bolts from pulling the side of the block in or putting pressure on the side of the block. Pretty cool deal. I've never seen it before. There it is.
Mm-hmm.
What size is it? Let's do it with the wrench.
8.
8 millimeters.
Oh,
Just use this socket here. Where's your 8 millimeter? Where's the-
We'll get an actual Allen socket.
Okay, go and get the one. Snap on one down in the bottom. Bottom box.
Bottom box.
Above the electrical drawers, got those ball-headed Allens.
Oh.
There's a metric set.
Oh, the what drawer?
Go down. 3 doors down.
Oh, I see it.
Or if you don't have a fancy socket, if you're not fancy like Applebee's, I mean, you know,
We fancy like that.
you can pull your 8 millimeter out. This is a little hack. Watch this. Of course, the short end won't fit in, so put the long end in, put your socket over it, break it loose. I get mine done before he does. What? Starts the race.
Mm-hmm. That's a race. Got it. Barely in time. Barely in time.
I'll let you win.
Totally.
So just back these out a little bit. Yeah, I went in
That's loosing. Oh, these ones may screw into the side of the main caps now that I think about it. Looking at it. Oh, okay. These ones, see the ones on the texted block. Now I know why they use different side bolts. The ones on the texted block, they were actually threaded into the block. These ones are threaded into the main caps, which is interesting.
Okay, now I can see it.
Come on, Dad, move it, move it, move it.
Wait a minute, when I'm going right hand thread,
It looks like it's left hand thread.
they back out. Or go the other way, go in.
Yeah, they're left hand thread. Like
Oh,
Heinz.
no.
stuff you won't see that's interesting engineering solutions.
So you back them out against the block, and then you put the bolts in.
Mm-hmm.
Very cool. Where's the socket? What's that?
What's going on there? Is it? Oh, wait, no, these are your 13s. Just too big. Yeah, those ones aren't properly set. Oh, bolt down, bolt down. Show you guys. Sorry if I gave anyone motion sickness there. How nice these main bearings are. As well.
The bearings out of both motors have been just amazingly nice.
This one's low mileage, so it has a reason. Is that rust pitting?
The other one was really good too. No, that's all.
Yeah. But y'all will notice, and I'll put this next to the Texas block, or the Cobra crank when we get this crank out. Is Holden should be on soon. But anyways, this crank is not fully counterweighted, whereas the Texas crank is. So these center two pieces are not fully counterweighted. Yeah, just set this back on here for now.
They both internally balanced.
No, this one's externally balanced. The Cobra crank is internally balanced.
Oh.
That's the other reason I didn't want to use it, because the hassle to have to externally balance it. Oh, but you know what? We are still going to have to send the crank and the rods to machine shop to be balanced. So I think that's... Yep. Think about that.
Grab them, wiggle them. You take the two bolts and just wiggle it back and forth. The rod should come. I mean, the main should just come out.
Should. Keyword.
Yeah, this one didn't.
This one's not.
Bearings are perfect.
There we go. It came out. Let's make this little section.
These are, by the way, already numbered, hopefully.
They are not, but I'm putting them in order.
The
ones on the Texas block?
ones in the,
the ones in the Texas block we put back in place.
What do you call Texas?
Texan.
Texan.
Teksia.
I'm a Texan.
No, Texan. It's it's the company that manufactures them. It's the casting plant in Italy. They do a lot of Ferrari and Lamborghini motors too.
You ready?
Go ahead and yank it out.
There's your crank.
All right.
Now,
You
crank
tell 'em
etiquette, always stand it on end,
something. Mm-hmm.
if it will.
It will. Here, give me just a second. I'm going to pause the video and check my earbud out. All right, we're back. Already. And I'm going to go grab the Cobra crank for a quick so we can compare them. Okay. Woo! This one's heavy. This is a Beastie Boy. And with these set side by side. Heartburn.
One that was blue.
Yes, well, purplish. I call it purplish. Let's get this at a good angle. Here, you want to take this?
Yep.
And you can pinch to zoom out.
I know.
Like that, to zoom in. So, you'll notice this one, cylinder 1 has its own counterweights. Cylinder 2, or 1 and 4 or 1 and 5 have their own counterweight. 2 and 6, 3 and 7, and 4 and 8 all have a pair of counterweights. So you'll notice on this one, cylinders 1 and 4 and cylinders, or 1 and 5 and cylinders 4 and 7, or 4 and 8, sorry. Cylinders, tongue twister. I swear I know what I'm doing.
1 and 5, 4 and 8.
Yeah, 1 and 5 and 4 and 8 both still have their pair of counterbalances. But you'll notice 2 and 5, or 2 and 6, only have one counterbalance, and 3 and 7 only have one counterbalance to their name. And you'll also notice this one is machined much rougher. So this one, nice sheen. This one, all those ridges.
Why are they a different color?
That is the heat treatment process. So this is just a regular cast crank. So they cast it, they roughly machine it, fine machine where it needs to be. Very cheap to make. You can make these en masse, very cheap. And because you just sand molds and mass produce them for low power stuff, perfectly fine. This one, you need these extra counterbalances for higher RPM. This motor red lines at 6,000 RPM, the 2-valve. This Cobra motor from the factory red lines to 7,200.
Is that a forged crank?
This is a full forged crank. So it is forged, and you'll notice that coloration, like I said, that is a heat treatment process. That is a result of a heat treatment process.
What's the difference between cast and forged?
So cast is easy. You just take a mold and you pour some liquid metal in it, with some control over temperatures and all that, so it hardens, right? But basically, you pour metal in a mold, you let it harden, and then you machine the bits that need to be machined, like the journals and the mains, and then you have a cast crank. This forging over here, so of course you have probably a big square mold or a big cubic mold, or I guess rectangular, and you cast what's called a billet. So you just cast a big brick of metal. No?
Well, yeah, big brick.
Well, you cast something roughly close to this shape.
Right.
And then you take it to a forging press that uses these things called dies that are basically imprints of the crank, and you'll have like 2 or 3 stages where one's rough, one's a little finer, and one's really close to the final product. And you smash them with a massive, probably 100-ton press. And doing that whereas this, you just kind of cut it away. This is kind of just all jumbled. This creates a nicer grain structure.
Very dense.
A very dense grain structure, too. And these are considered some of the stronger ones. They also have billet cranks. Those are usually made out of different materials that are pretty much impossible to cast and extremely hard to forge, but work great for billets because they're already really hard. This has a very strong grain structure, which means that you spin this crank too high, or you put too much power to it, crack, no more crank. Or you got extra cranks of smaller size. This one, if you get to the point of failure, this is just going to flex and bend. I know we're at an hour. And so this will take punishment a lot better.
It's also heat treated.
And heat treated.
Post machining.
To also
maybe pre-machining. I don't know.
I think it's pre and post.
Yeah, probably pre, because the machining process.
Yes, it's pre.
Is finished. As you see, it's silver, and then the crank is a purple. Yeah, makes sense.
Mm-hmm. But anyways, we're gonna go ahead and wrap this up. Thanks for watching. Go ahead, hit like, subscribe, leave a comment. Tell me what you think we should do with the old parts. Do you think I should just assemble the other motor, maybe put it in something cheap to get? Have a fun little beater car? Or you think I should just sell it? Let me know what you want me to do. And like I said, hit like, subscribe, ring that bell, and I will see you next time.